Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Morris October Rant series. And I'm pretty sure that people are well acquainted with what this episode and what this podcast in general is about. Obviously, you know what the episode's about because you're reading the title. But today I want to talk about social anxiety and the fear that other people think that others are watching them or care. And people do not care. They really don't. Today I was in the grocery store and I'm looking around, and sometimes I feel like people care, and everyone's just doing their thing, getting their groceries, walking around with their cart, just focusing on what they're doing, and not one person was staring at me, looking at me like I thought, and it really lets you know that people really don't care as much as you think they do. You know, people are very self-centered. They are focused on their own goals. They're focused on, their own values, and they really don't care about some random person in a grocery store that's walking by them. And social anxiety, I think, comes from society, of people's like fear of others and fear of what they think, and just like a lack of security, and just everyone just are so worried about what others think and trying to fit in. And it's a societal thing. And having social anxiety is not normal, and it's not like it shouldn't exist, because it doesn't do anything, it doesn't mean anything, and it's not real. Like your own fear of being judged, you're creating that fear in your mind. It doesn't exist. You're thinking about something that you think is real when it's not real, because these people do not give a fuck. And I went into this grocery store, and I'm telling you, people weren't even looking at me. Like we walk into a grocery store with our cart at the entrance, and we think that like we're the center of attention, and we're not. People don't care. And as long as you don't like inconvenience people or direct them, like affect them directly, as a fucking tongue twister, but if you don't affect them directly, they don't care. And you know it's like sometimes people just think that they're the center of attention, and I don't know if it comes from insecurity. Like I said, I don't know if it comes from wanting to fit in. Like I know it comes from not wanting to, like it comes from fitting in and not having like the ability to fit in because you don't have a good social skills. I don't know what it is, but people seem to think they're the center of attention, and they want to be. I don't know what causes it, but sometimes people don't want to be, but they think they are, and they're scared of it. But people need to stop. Like, assuming is one thing that people need to stop doing, because assumptions don't really do anything. You're not living in reality. If I make an assumption about something, that it doesn't make it true. If I walk past a group of people and I think they're judging me, I have no idea, because I'm assuming that. I shouldn't be worried about something that I can't like confirm. And I remember when I was younger, I would wear certain clothes or have a certain outfit on, and I'm worried about people, judging my outfit in their mind, or thinking that my outfit's not good enough, or it's stupid, or outclassed, or whatever insult. And like I've wear all kinds of stuff, and people really don't care. People just, like I said, have their own things they're doing, and people don't really put that much thought into it. And it really does come from society, this like worrying about other people's opinions and stuff like that. And people have their own shit they're doing. And man, I used to like wear like the craziest stuff, and think it was cool, and thought people would think it's stupid. But you see people in society wearing all kinds of crazy stuff, and you know, maybe you'll get attention, but I don't think people really care as much as you think they do. And obviously you're gonna come around like some mentally ill person who does care, but for the most part, there's always an exception to the rule. There always is. Yeah, but people don't really care. And I remember listening to this podcast, and this one guy was saying that you could fucking die tomorrow. A meteor could hit you from the sky. It could literally fall down, kill you. I don't know why he said that. Like, why would a meteor do that? But basically, he was trying to say that you would die tomorrow, or you could die tomorrow, or even today, and a vast majority of the planet would not give a fuck and would not care. It doesn't even know who the fuck you are. So why the fuck would you care about other people's opinions? Why would you care? Like, they don't even know you exist. Most of humanity doesn't even know I exist. So why am I allowing humanity to have such an impact on me when most of humanity doesn't even know I exist? And that's a good point he made, you know? You can't be worried about other people's opinions and stuff like that to the point where you can't even function. And some people's social anxiety is so bad that they can't even go to the store. You know, they can't even go outside. You know, my cousin had a form of social anxiety, and he couldn't even go out to dinner with us for Thanksgiving. And, you know, it really affects people's lives. And it's sad because you're going to miss out on so many things because of your assumption that people care so much when they don't. And, you know, and even if, like, I'm going to switch it up a little bit, you know, but even if they did care, who gives a fuck? You're not affecting them. You're not hurting them, you know? I remember when my back hurt and I had back issues, and, you know, because I got into a car accident, and I had back problems afterwards. And when I go to the grocery store, I would use the little Mart cart and to, like, get my groceries, and my mom told me that I looked stupid using that, and I'm capable of walking and stuff like that. And I said, one, why do I care what other people think of me when if I used a Mart cart? And, you know, two, it's there for people to use. Like, there's people that just don't feel like walking around the store and use it and have, like, no real reason to use it, and people use it anyway. It's there for people to use if they need it. Like, if you weren't supposed to use them, they wouldn't be in the store. So, you know, I just don't understand, like, why my mom cared so much about me using it. Or I don't know if she felt, like, embarrassed by me using it, or, like, thought that people would think something about me and she's worried about my reputation. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I don't understand why she cared so much about me using the Mart cart when my back hurt. Like, I'm using it for a reason because of how it hurts my back to walk after my fucking car accident. I really don't give a fuck if someone looks at me and thinks bad things about me because I'm using a Mart cart. Why would I care what some fucking stranger thinks? Like, I'm in the store for my comfort. I don't care about some fucking stranger. And they're there for a reason to use. And in the grand scheme of things, what the fuck does it matter if someone has a negative opinion about me? You know, like, that's the way you gotta think of things. And, you know, you could die any day and you're never gonna get a life ever again. Like, even if you do, like, have a life after death, you know, it's not gonna be like life like it was before you died. It's gonna be a different version, or completely different version, if there even is life after death. You know, so you gotta enjoy life as it is, and you gotta realize that you're not here for very long in the grand scheme of things, because eternity isn't a long time. Like, you can't even fathom how long it is. So you gotta do your thing. And, you know, if your fucking back hurts and you want to use a Mart cart, like, who cares? Like, who gives a fuck, you know? I think the problem with my mom is that she likes to impose her own feelings onto me. Like, if she feels a certain way, you know, it's called, what's it called? Projection, yeah. If she feels a certain way, she wants to put those feelings onto me and try to make me feel the same way about something that she feels. Like, if she doesn't like a certain food, like, I remember we'd go to the drive-thru and she'd ask me what I want, and I'd tell her what I wanted, and she would say that's gross, or like, nah, I shouldn't get that. She's trying to make me feel what she feels, and I think that's what happens, you know? She has a problem with it for some reason, and then she tries to make me feel the same way, and that's not how I want to live my life, and I have no interest in that. And, you know, I just take the Mart card anyway, and I just, like, I tell her when I go to the grocery store sometimes, and I tell her I use it, but I'm not telling her I use it anymore. Like, I'm not going to tell her. She'll never know if I don't tell her I use it. So, you know, like, it's so funny in the grand scheme of things. I'm fucking arguing with my mother about a Mart cart. Like, who gives a fuck, dude? Like, this is how trivial human beings are. I'm using a fucking little scooter to drive around and get groceries really quick because my back's all fucked up. It's just so funny how people are so petty that they care about that, But back to the main topic where we're talking about. Yeah, people do not care for the most part what you do, and and like I said, even if they did care, who gives a fuck, Life is not to be taken seriously. Obviously there's aspects of life that you should take seriously, obviously, but for the most part, life is a huge joke, and a lot of things are jokes, and, I remember, like, this is kind of like, these rant videos are great because you don't have to, you can go off on like 5 different rants in one rant. But speaking of life being a joke, there was this one guy, and he was in law enforcement, and he has a podcast, and he's like a cowboy. I've talked about him in another podcast a little bit. But he said that, for the most part, laws don't really matter anymore because the people who write the laws don't follow the laws. And he said, like he said that, and I'm like, you're so right. Like, this life is a fucking joke. The people that make the laws don't give a shit about the laws, Like, it reminds me of my mom. Like, I remember as a child or a teenager, she would tell me not to eat all the food, or like not to eat like a whole bag of chips when I would do it, and then she'd turn around and do the exact same thing, She'd like, we get ice cream, and she would eat like the entire box of ice cream cones, and then I'm like, I thought you don't like when people eat, like, you don't like it when I eat all of something, but you're going to turn around and eat all the ice creams. And then she brushes it off like it's no big deal, or she was just hungry and wanted ice cream. But when I do it, it was a huge deal, and I got yelled at all night. So, people are just very hypocritical, and, it's just, the world is a fucking joke, Like, I was comparing that to the law writers don't follow the laws because they don't, and it can really make you lose faith in the law. But also, one thing he said that was interesting is he said that you shouldn't need the law to know right from wrong. Like, I shouldn't need a law about murder to not murder. Like, a good man doesn't need laws to live a good life or to follow, like, the rules of his own moral compass, I shouldn't need a murder law to not murder, and that shouldn't keep you from murdering. But that's enough for today. Thank you for listening.